This is the new electric medium SUV from Toyota, the bZ4X, and I've been family testing the base model variant this week. But you may be thinking, gosh, Emily, this looks awfully similar to that Subaru Solterra you were just in, and you'd be right, because they're essentially twins and they share electrical underpinnings, some tech, and even internal styling. But unlike its counterpart, Toyota is offering its base model as a front-wheel drive. The bZ4X also competes against rivals like the Kia EV6 and Tesla Model Y. But how does the first EV from Toyota stack up under family use? Stay watching to find out. There are two variants for the bZ4X, and the base model on test here is a front-wheel drive and only sports a single motor. It's priced from $66,000 before on-road costs, and compared to its single-motor rivals, that places it right in the middle with its price tag. And for a base model, you get some pretty solid features, like heated front seats, satellite navigation, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and the upholstery also features synthetic leather trims rather than just plain cloth. But the full specs are in my written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info. There's not much that separates the bZ4X from its Subaru twin outside of the obvious badging, and some very slight differences in the front and rear fascias. The rear lights are sharply defined and there's a lot of plastic molding going around the base of the car, but all in all, it looks sporty and fun. The dashboard, doors and seats are finished in a grey knit-like fabric, which makes it feel quite warm and inviting inside. And the cabin is also elevated by a black synthetic leather trim that's found throughout the car. Overall, the cabin is actually quite pleasant, but wouldn't be out of place on a more affordable car. Despite looking a little bit cozy because of the wide center console, you have plenty of head and legroom up front. I also like how well cushioned and comfortable the front seats are, and that the driver's side has powered lumbar support. Both seats, like I mentioned, are heated as well, which adds to the comfort. Individual storage is a little bit less than you would expect for the class because you don't get a glove box, but you still have enough storage nooks for some items, and there's a shelf underneath that would fit a small handbag if needed. The charging options are very good throughout the car, with each row getting 2 USB-C ports. The front also gets a USB-A port and a 12-volt socket, but unfortunately at this grade level you do miss out on a wireless charging pad and vehicle-to-load capability. The 12.3-inch touchscreen multimedia system looks great and is super easy to use. I like that the touchscreen is very responsive and that you get built-in satellite navigation and a Toyota Services app. The biggest difference in the cabin is the steering wheel, because this features a more traditional round shape than the squared off shape of its twin. I actually prefer the feel and use of this one, but it cuts into your vision of the digital instrument cluster, which is set a fair way back on the dash and feels a little bit disjointed from the rest of the tech, but you do get used to it. I'm in the back seat and I have a stack of room for my 168cm height. The 182mm ground clearance also makes this a very easy car to get in and out of. My 7-year-old also really likes the amenities back here, like the directional air vents, a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders, as well as a device holder. There are ISOFIX child seat mounts on the outboard seats plus 3 top tethers. 2 seats will fit best, and I had no trouble fitting my monster harness booster seat this week. For the boot, you get a tyre puncture repair kit, a level loading space, and 421 litres of boot capacity. Now, that is a little bit lower than some of its rivals, but it was big enough for my grocery run this week, which is good. And I always like it when you get a powered tailgate. The bZ4X base variant is a front-wheel drive and has a single motor that produces outputs of 150 kilowatts and 256 newton meters of torque, which sounds a bit schlumpy, but actually has great pickup, and you don't feel like it's underpowered when you hit the open road. You don't actually notice that this is a front-wheel drive most of the time. It's only if you accelerate a little bit too quickly from a standstill and lose traction in the wheels that you notice it. Other than that, power is delivered very smoothly, and while you don't get a tummy-sucking sensation when you put your foot down, the power is enough to satisfy for even open road driving. The steering feels a little bit too light in my opinion, And I did notice a fair bit of understeering happening when I was tackling winding roads. That curbed my enthusiasm because it just made the performance a little bit lackluster at times. Having said that, you don't notice it as much in an urban environment, which is good. And it's just something that you have to be aware of, to the point where just remind yourself that this is not a performance EV and don't get any fast and furious thoughts. The ride comfort in this is fantastic, and I would contribute that to the well-cushioned suspension. You feel the bumps, but you're not bothered by them, even when you're sitting in the back seat, which is really good. Cabin is mostly quiet most of the time. The wind and road noise can creep up a little bit when you're on the open road, but otherwise it's a very refined experience. Visibility is excellent in this car, and besides from a few little things like the steering, I actually think that this is a very uncomplicated car to drive. The bZ4X is pretty easy to park because of its smallish size. It does have a very clear reversing camera, which is good, but it would have benefited from a 360-degree view camera system, which the top model does get. The official energy consumption figure is 16.9 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers, and I averaged 16.1 kilowatt hour after doing a mix of urban and open road driving this week. Pretty good consumption and on par with a lot of its rivals too. The official driving range from the large 71.4 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery is up to 436 kilometers, which is a little bit low compared to its rivals by a good portion. The bZ4X has a Type 2 CCS charging port, which means that you can benefit from faster DC charging speeds. It accepts up to 150 kilowatts on DC power, and on a 150 kilowatt DC power system, you can go from 0 to 80% in around 40 minutes. On a 7 kilowatt AC power charger, you can go from 10 to 100% in 9.5 hours, but that drops to 7 hours on an 11 kilowatt system. All of those figures are a little bit slow, but not totally unreasonable to be inconvenient. The bZ4X gets some great standard safety features, but misses out on some items that the top model gets, like blind spot monitoring, safe exit assist, and recross traffic alert, all of which are pretty big ticket items and available on much more affordable Toyotas. That being said, the bZ4X did achieve a maximum 5-star NCAP safety rating from testing done in 2022. It has 7 airbags, including a front center airbag. And if you need more safety details, please check out my full review at carsguide.com.au. The bZ4X comes with a 5-year or unlimited kilometre warranty, and the battery is covered by an 8-year or up to 160,000 kilometre warranty, which are both usual terms for the class. You can have a 5-year or up to 75,000 kilometre cap price servicing program, and servicing costs just $180, which is very competitive for the class. However, servicing intervals are more in line with a fuel-based car at every 12 months or 15,000 kilometers, whichever occurs first. The Toyota bZ4X base variant is an uncomplicated car to drive and has some decent features for its grade level and was plenty big enough for my little family of 3, but it doesn't always come out ahead compared to its rivals. That being said, this would be a very easy EV to dip your toes into if you're looking for something that is economical to maintain but still fits the family. So it gets a 7.4 out of 10 from me. My 7-year-old thinks it looks cool, but was confused as to why mummy was reviewing the same car twice. He still gives it an 8 out of 10, and if you're after more details, check out the full review at carsguide.com.au, and I'll see you next week.